Stuart, a big win in the first league game at Fir Park this season. How would you reflect on that match?
Yeah, I think it's a win that we thoroughly deserve, Scott, to be honest with you. I felt that throughout the day, we limited Hibs to virtually nothing. Liam Kelly's not made a save in the game, and it was maybe a bit of a standoff, if you like, in the first 45. We had the best chance through Dan Casey hitting the woodwork, but I was pleased still with our organisation. I was still pleased with our discipline, but the task in the second half was for us to become a greater threat ourselves into the final third, and I thought we grew into that. I think there was a lot of contributing factors in terms of having that threat in the wide areas, making sure that we have some sort of combination and control in the middle of the park, and carrying a threat with our strikers as well. So there was a lot of pleasing aspects to it, and just really important, as you mentioned, just to try and keep a good run going. We know that we've become accustomed to being involved in games and being really competitive, and that was the starting point for us today. And fortunately, we were able to execute the final bit, which is always the end product.
At the end of last week's match against Dundee, you spoke after the match about having limited options on the bench that could change and make an impact in the game in the forward areas. It must have been good today to turn around and see Mika Bireth on the bench and have John Obika back there as well.
Yeah, again, we don't just say these things for effect, because we genuinely believe that if we make changes, we can try and change the context of the game. It's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. And that's no disrespect to the guys that came off the pitch, because I felt that they offered so much as well. Theo Bair's not trained again this week, so we've tried to reel him out to start him in the game off his positive start last week. But where we got to in the game was being able to freshen it up in the front end of the park, and what we believe we've got, and having that real bit of quality that Mika brought, in his assist, the composure. You first look at the endeavour, the strength, the persistence to try and get into the position. That's great, but to have the composure at the end of it, to pick out your strike partners, excellent. And then just a bit of quality at the end for the goal he scores himself, well assisted by young Lennon. But just again to have that composure, maybe thinking he's taking an extra touch, but he obviously sees the picture. And again, he's not really trained too much. He'd been out with a niggle. So again, Scott, we just think that these guys will improve through time, getting to work with them on the pitch, improving their fitness levels, improving their sharpness in front of goal. And then we think we can get more out of the group of strikers certainly we've got, but us collectively as a team, I still think we can improve.
It's easy to get attracted towards the forward areas because that's where the goals were today, but we conceded one goal right in the latter stages of the game. I believe it was the first shot on target. How impressed were you from your defenders today as well? Because they did limit Hibs, a team that were in the top 6 last year and are in Europe this year.
Yeah, I can only call it the way I see it. I thought the defenders were so comfortable in the game today, and I think a lot of that was down to them in terms of being proactive, reading danger, defending their penalty box anytime anything came in. Hibs carry a threat with long throws. We see that with guys like Newell and Miller on the opposite side, and they're able to hurl balls into your box. So we have to stand strong. We have to be organised. And I thought they deserved a clean sheet. I need to say that. I thought they deserved a clean sheet. They're a wee bit disappointed, and we love that from the goalkeeper, back three, wing backs. There's disappointment that they didn't get the clean sheet, because I felt that they deserved it. But if I go to the decision, we'll want to jump on what's wrong and all the rest of it. In the modern day, I've seen it back. That looks probably like a penalty. Dan's hands raised above his shoulder height, so it's probably going to result in a penalty. So all wee bits that we tidy up on when the ball comes into our penalty box, but I think in general we were well organised, and we defended well as a team, not just that back five and goalkeeper.
Just finally, Stuart, now looking ahead to next week, we're in cup action. How excited should we be getting into next week and into that match?
Yeah, it's a fresh challenge, isn't it? We've had to get our teeth into the fact of playing Premiership games again and trying to go off to a good start, which I think we have done. A point away from home and our first win here at Fir Park is massive to us. But then it becomes a different challenge going away to St Mirren, who had such a good home record last year. I think it's a real difficult draw, but I think that they'll be perfectly aware that we're a side that's in decent form ourselves, coming through our group in the Fire play, having a lot of good performances at the tail end of last season, and I think that we've showed that we're coming to a similar vein of form. So I think it's a well set up cup tie. We look forward to it. I'm sure they will at the other side, and everybody's aspiration is to go and see if you can get a run in the cup. So we're no different from anybody else, and we'll try and execute our game plan very similar to what we've done today.
Thanks, Stuart. Well done.